Israel. Hello, Arctic. Well, not really. That's what we say. Hello there. Welcome to Monday. This is the last week in the book of Numbers, if you can believe it. We've really been whipping through these books. And there's a fascinating line at the end that I think can really help us this week in the way we think about what we're doing in our mindfulness meditation. So there's at the beginning of the last Torah portion in the book of Numbers, they've literally gone all the way across the desert, 40 years wandering. They make it to right on the edge of the land of Canaan, and that's where the book ends. Then we get into the book of Deuteronomy, which is a whole bunch of Moses speeches that were kind of tacked on by the Deuteronomist. That's another story. But the beginning of this last Torah portion, they talk about the journeys of the Israelites by their Yotzetem, by their going out. So it basically says the stages of the Israelites. In other words, all the places that they stopped and the places where they went out. So they'd stop somewhere and then they would go out from there, Yotzei. So when Moses goes to write them, there's a switcheroo that happens in the text where it says Moses wrote down their stages by their going out. And then there's like a comma and it says, by their going out, here are the stages. They switch it. One time it's based upon the going out, another time it's based upon the stage where they were. And there's this wonderful Hasidic tale of a young man who is set up to be married. This was a long time ago. They had shatchanim, they would set up your marriage. And so this young man, let's say he's 17, 16 years old probably, he lived with his father and his stepmother, and his stepmother was a horrible person. Well, maybe she wasn't a horrible person, but the two of them did not get along, let's put it that way. And he couldn't wait to get away from his stepmother. So he and his father get in a carriage, and they start leaving from their town, and they're about to visit his future bride, who he's never met. They start to visit his future bride and their family. They're going to work out all the details and all of that stuff. So they start to head out from town, and right away, he asks the driver, how far have we traveled away from the town? And the driver says, how far? Another 15, 20 minutes. Asks again, how far have we gotten away from the town? And he's like, well, it's been about, 20 miles. A little while later, how far have we gotten away from that town? He says, well, it's been 25, 30 miles. Finally, the father says, how much longer do we have to go to the next town? And he gives his estimate of how he got there. And the son says, wow, that's so weird, Dad, right? I was asking about how far we'd gone, and you were asking how far we had to go. And the father says, well, I know what's awaiting you in this next town, because this is going to be a fantastic person that you're going to be marrying, and your father-in-law is going to be this incredible person, and their family is so great, and this town is fantastic, and I know what's going to be happening to you as you move forward. You, on the other hand, want to get as far as you can away from your stepmother, so you want to know how far we've come from back there. So much of the time we live in one of those two camps. Either we're living our lives moving away from something, or we live our lives going towards something. This moment that we have together is for neither of those. This moment is for just now. And how do we get there? Is just through our breath, because our breath is the ultimate now. We only breathe for right now. I don't breathe for what happened 10 minutes ago. I already did that breathing. I don't breathe for what's going to happen to me in the future because I've got breath for that. Right now I need to stay alive with this breath that's entering my body and now leaving my body. Every breath is every moment. And it was funny because we were just talking earlier with one of our children about this yoga that they were doing, and my wife suggested that yoga actually is breath work. It's not necessarily position work. It is that, but it's first and foremost about the breath. And I was thinking, well, why? And it's because the only way we can live our lives is if we take a moment to be in that ultimate now and get in touch with that which just keeps us alive, which is the breath. So I want us to really concentrate on our breath today, but in a little bit of a different way. I've introduced this before, but I really believe this week is for centering ourselves in the now, and understanding. Part of, I think, the noticing work that we want to do is, where are the thoughts that come into our head? Are they things from the past, or are they things that are going to happen in the future? It would be interesting to understand just where you sit on that spectrum. Present. How do you live in the past? How much do you live in the future? Where do you think you exist on that? I'd like to do some exploration of that this week, because it's an opportunity for us to do it. And so when we think about our breath, there are 3 words for soul in Judaism, and they're all tied to the breath. One of them is ruach. Ruach is, for our purposes, the actual wind of the breath in. Do you feel the cold? Do you feel the air enter your throat and enter into your body? Do you actually feel that breath? That's ruach. When we breathe out, I can feel in my hand the wind. That's ruach. Ruach also means wind. But in this particular case, our ruach is the actual feeling of the breath coming into our body and leaving our body. That's 1. 2, nefesh. There's a line at the end of the Vishamru prayer. It says that God, V'yom hashvi'i Shabbat vayi nafash. And on the 7th day, God rested, and vayi nafash, and was refreshed. Nefesh. If this is our breath, breathe in, breathe out. The nefesh is, first of all, nefesh is considered this part of our body, if we want to look at it bodily. But it is breathe in. There's a moment where you've breathed in and you're about to breathe out. That's nefesh, that hovering moment. Breathe out, the breath goes out, and I don't know about you, but sometimes my breath stays down there where I'm not breathing in yet, and I'm kind of breathing out, but it really feels as if almost like nothing is going on. That's your breath sitting in the nefesh, being waiting for it to like come back in, right? So when your breath goes out, it sinks down, and there's a part of your soul that has perfect rest, and then you breathe, through that ruach, which is coming into your body and then going back out. And the last one is neshama. Neshama is usually considered to be your soul. You ever hear someone say, "Oh, they have a good neshama"? That's they have a good soul, right? The neshama in this particular case. Listen, this is Lefi Dati. This is according to me. This isn't according to, all these other people. It's kind of readings that I've had here and there, and really thought about this today, and other times other than today, but how I wanted to talk about it today. The nefesh is kind of like the whole of the breath. It is the overall feeling of the ruach coming into your body, filtering through and turning in that nefesh and going back down through the ruach, and then turning again through that nefesh. That whole process is the neshama, is it's kind of like the process of the breath is neshama. And all of this comes to be that it is only when we are really thinking about this very moment happening to us that our soul can receive, I know it's strange to say this, but your soul can receive a breath. That neshama is the breath, but the breath feeds the neshama. It feeds our souls. It feeds that stuff that's not physical, not mental. It's something else that's happening. Think about the fact that you don't do anything to breathe. So, what is the force that's causing the breath? That's neshama. It's the entire process of the breath, from bringing it in to going out. I know that's a lot. It's really, I went a little longer than I usually do talking about this, but I really think it's important. And we're going to be revisiting this through the week. So if you're interested in this exploration, please stay with us this week. If you're not interested in it, well, you can always go to Michelle's yoga first thing in the morning and get the other breath work that you need to get. 9 o'clock in the morning, you can be with her. Or 4:45 on Wednesday. And then we'll end, we'll just do a very short thing about health and safety, because I went a little bit longer than I usually do. And I broke into our time that we're going to be quiet. But I really want you to think about the ruach in, the nefesh pause, the ruach out, and within all of that is that neshama. The ruach in, the nefesh peak, the ruach out, the nefesh, if there's a peak, the valley, the nefesh valley at the bottom, which sometimes takes a couple seconds to get through. So let's get into a comfortable position. Once again, regular breathing. We're not trying to change our breath or solve any mystery about it. We're just going to concentrate on our breathing. Really pay attention to the ruach, pay attention to the nefesh. And as you're going through it, think neshama, this whole process. I think of it really as a circle. This whole circle is the neshama. And as your mind takes you away from it, just bring yourself back in love and chesed. I have the feeling that by thinking about our breath in this different way, it might tend to keep us concentrated on it a little bit for longer periods of time. But your mind's still going to take you away. You're going to start thinking about whether you're doing it right or wrong, or what is that nefesh, and is that the nefesh, and did I do it right? And I'm not sure if I did it right. I can't do this stuff. You'll start getting all of those thoughts. But just bring yourself back to it and keep on trying it. That's why I'd like to do this week. I'd like to see how that sits in us. And see if we're successful in navigating through our breath in a different way that gives us a different feeling. Also, let's just allow things to be as they are for now. We don't need to change the stuff that's happening. If you feel like you're not able to do it, just do it the way you're doing it, because we're allowing it to be as it is, okay? Excuse me. Trying to sneeze on the truth. Remember, just a nice, easy, regular breath. If you need to take a bigger breath, by all means do it. Just an invitation that I'm sure your mind has taken you somewhere, that it's okay to just notice it. Bring yourself back to your ruach and your nefesh, your neshama, with love, with chesed. Just back to your breath, going in and out. In the last couple of minutes that we have together, first of all, I hope that you enjoyed Ruach and Nefesh and Neshama. I noticed that in the valley of my breath, my Nefesh really stayed there for a while in certain breaths. It's so strange, almost felt like I wasn't breathing at all, but it was just waiting for the next breath to come in. So before we go our separate ways, let us ask for feelings of health and safety. We need to ask this health thing every single week. You heard me sneeze before. Only because of this meditation do I not panic. As opposed, also I had my temperature scoped as I went somewhere today, and they told me I was 96.7, so I'm running cold. So don't worry about my sneeze. But even with just a sneeze, it's so easy to say, oh my God, what's going on? So let's say, may I feel healthy. May I feel safe. And let's offer feelings of health and safety to ourselves to reiterate the possibilities of our feeling. May I feel healthy. May I feel safe. May I feel safe. May I feel healthy. And in each breath, offer yourself health and safety as we end our session together. If you need one more than the other, you can continue to ask for one or the other. There's no rules for that. And frankly, if you need something else today, and you really need that feeling, by all means. These are just invitations. You don't have to send an RSVP. May I feel safe. May I feel healthy. And for just several breaths, let's just bring our mind's eye back to our breath. The ruach in, the nefesh break, the ruach out, and the nefesh. It all gives strength to our neshama, our soul. That was a good one. May you feel healthy, and may you feel safe. I hope you have a beautiful evening. Take care.